Right, seems it's a nice day for painting. The sun's out and it's quite warm for middle of October. We've started to, well, me and my son have started to mark off the cabinet, and we're going to strip all this silver paint off next, and get it back to its original sort of ivory white, sort of cream colour. So we've just used low-tack masking tape, and we're going to try some paint stripper on it and see what happens. Right, paint stripper's all on, and it's doing the job. And I don't know if you can see, probably not to get it, but you can see the original white paint just where I'm stroking the brush. You probably can't see it, just coming through there, just there where my brush, tip of my brush is, just there. So it's all flaked off it, obviously. But yeah, it's coming on. I think it is slowly. I think this is hammerite silver paint or aluminium paint. It's quite tough to get off, but we'll give it a wash in a minute and scrub it, and see what it looks like, and then give it another go of paint stripper. Right, and here's the cabinet with all the silver paint stripped off it. It worked quite well. Just needed a scrub with a toothbrush, and you can see all the remnants of the original paint here. This sort of ivory cream colour. It looks like the paint stripper hasn't actually touched this at all. It flakes off, but it's quite tough. Don't know what to do about this. I might see if I can carefully get a wire brush. You know, getting it off here is not a problem with the edge of a scalpel. This sort of stuff on the raised edge of this sort of bead stuff, but getting down in there is it's going to be slightly problematic. I'm going to give it a go. I'm just going to do one section with some more paint stripper and see if that actually does anything, but I'm not sure it's touching it at all. So I'll give it another go and report back. Here's the radio, all with paint removed and ready for spraying, all taped up. Quite hard to get all the paint out of all the little grooves. Got most of it out, enough that it should spray up quite well. Alright, rattle can next, and I'm going to prime it. Alright, here's the cabinet with first coat of primer on. In fact, the only coat of primer. Not too bad. It is a white primer, and quite hard to tell when you see the original paint how much of it is absorbed dirt, and if that's what's causing it to look off white colour. I don't know, but these do look better and off white, so that's what I'll be painting it. I mentioned I had a problem with the 12 volt cathode bypass electrolytic, and I assembled the radio back up today and put it in its cabinet, and the hum was atrocious. And you know, if you remember when I first turned it on before replacing anything really, it didn't hum at all. And I can't believe this. This Paxilin disc. This is the capacitor. This is the two-section part of the main smoothing capacitors, and that Paxilin disc should isolate these two contacts, and it isn't. So I'm just, if you can see got it set on ohms, so I'm touching the actual Paxilin disc here. Huh. And I'm getting a high resistance reading. Look at that. I'm beginning to doubt myself here. So now I'm touching two parts of the Paxilin, and it's I've never seen that before. I'm touching the ground lead or the negative of one of the electrolytics. This is actually conductive, and I'm guessing that's why I'm getting my hum. So I'm going to have to remove these two capacitors and fully sleeve them all the way through. I've never seen anything like that before. In fact, I'm beginning to doubt myself so much. I'm going to post a question on the Vintage Radio forum. But that shouldn't happen. That should be like an insulating washer. So these two tags are kept separate. That's why it's there. How bloody strange. Anyway. Well, here it is. All finished. What do you think? I've got a little bit of amateur action going on, which will please Chris. But, yeah, she's all done. Just noticed a nice scratch there. But, yeah, it's working very well. We're on shortwave at the moment, just about 23 metres, which isn't, as far as I know, part of the amateur radio band, but I don't know. Let's switch it to medium wave. The set is very loud. That knob, the volume knob, is hardly on. I'll try not to hit any music stations.
That's almost writing off the rest of the season. And Carl-Heinz Rummenigge and said, look, let's be honest, they're top of the league, they're great, and
the sound is excellent.
Is it kind of almost a nostalgic view? Well, of how we once thought of ourselves.
BBC 5.
You know, it's kind of an example of the thing you can do when you're writing a novel about recent history, and she's a little...
Very, very impressed. Let's turn it off. Very, very impressed with the sound. It's taken up. Let's swing it round so you can have a look at the inside as well. Unplug the aerial. There's the inside. So all cleaned. I did a small video about that capacitor, which I was having trouble with, as well as the 12 volt cathode bypass for the output tube. What I did on this eventually, if I didn't include it in that little clip, is I insulated the wires. I just pulled the core out of some of this silicone wire. So I sleeved the capacitor leads and brought them out through holes here, and then heat shrunk them in appropriately coloured heat shrink to the existing terminals. And there's no conductivity between any of the terminals now. And the outside of the can, of course. Obviously, there is conductivity between that and that when you can read the capacitor charging. So there we go. Quite a lot of work to get it into a position where I could actually work on the thing. But it was very well worth it, and it's gathering dust all the time. I cleaned the inside. I used Brasso, which it should be available throughout the world, and probably everyone's familiar with it. If you're not, it's just like a cotton wadding impregnated with white spirit and maybe pumice stone. I'm not sure about Europe, but it is in other regions. Very useful, stinks. And then I used Greygate Polish number 5, which was a recipe that the GPO, the General Post Office here, when they used to own all the phone network, when they go around and service customers' phones, they would clean them up using this polish as part of a customer service type thing. And Greygate have got the recipe and produce it. It's £253 off of eBay or direct from them. one of my radios is actually featured on their website. They didn't ask me, but don't mind. So yeah, let's carefully swing it around without touching the rectifier. So there we go. Hopefully you've enjoyed following along. It was a bit of a trek. The missus is moaning about how many radios I've got, and I think she's right. I think what people, or you may not realise, that before I started making YouTube videos, I'd been collecting radios for maybe 8 years, 7-8 years, and I've got a substantial number that I repaired before I even ever started making YouTube videos. And to be honest, the storage or lack of storage here has got to crisis point. I've got so many radios, it's ridiculous, and I need to get rid of them. So maybe some will start appearing on an eBay site, and if they're located in the region of Cambridgeshire, you'll know it's probably me. I've never sold anything on eBay, well, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, but never sold any radios on eBay. And I don't really like doing eBay, but anyway, so I'm not allowed to buy any more radios. That's going to be self-imposed until the next shiny one comes along. Coming up, I've got I just want to give you a tour around my workbench for those who haven't seen it before. Can bore you all. Got all sorts going on up there, and books up there, and even more up there. I'm just in a little spare bedroom at home. I've got that Thurlby DSA analyzer to do a video on, which I still haven't had a chance. It's this thing. I haven't had a chance to look at that. It does light up and it's beautiful in the dark. Yeah, so I've actually got it working. It does do what it's meant to. I just don't know how to work it. It's rather complicated. I've got an AR-88 on the floor I want to get out and work on. This bench is not big enough for it anymore. It used to be. It's not now, which is a shame. I really need a garage. I don't have a garage. Well, as I say, I hope you've enjoyed following along this rather lengthy repair series, and hopefully see you again.